Okay, if I move back now to the number 8, the Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee. Phil.
I'll move those, and I've got an amendment too,
Okay.
Vicky. And so the amendment, I'm sorry I haven't written it down for staff, but it's basically that the council requests staff to meet with members of Hands Off Hagley and other interested parties with a view to form a Guardians of Hagley Park to assist meeting the objectives of the Hagley Park Management Plan. And report to the Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee. Thank you.
Is there a seconder for that amendment? Pauline? Okay. So
I'll speak to the amendment if you like.
Yep. You can speak to whatever you like. Part A, Item 1, Botanic Gardens.
I think there's, I'm sure there'll be strong support for the setting up of the trust, which is clearly a funding trust for Hagley, for the Botanic Gardens. And it just seems to me that it's also opportune to ensure that we consider the wider setting and context for the gardens by way of the whole park. And so I think we should work with people who are interested and concerned about the park, just like we have with other council groups, so that in fact we can make sure that the park is held in good care, and we work proactively with other groups. So that is the reason for my amendment.
Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, carried. No. And then I'll put the amended recommendation, which has also been moved and seconded. Still okay to move and second it? Right, I'll put that. Those in favour, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed, carried. Item number 2 and Part B, which is moved by Phil and seconded by Tim.
Can I ask a question, please?
Yep,
just
sure.
On under 5, just a question, if I could have a response over the Pages Road Bridge, a status update where we were at with that bridge. Okay. Okay. Yep. Okay.
On this one as well, just under 6, did you receive any information at the committee around the concern that businesses are having with the huge amounts of road cones that have been put out and the negative impacts it's having, quite adverse impacts on local businesses? It's just an issue that certainly has been noticed in Paul and our Hagley Freeway Board, where we're seeing huge amounts of road cones having a huge impact on local suburban centres, and it seems like something. I just want to be assured that someone is actually thinking about it and looking into it.
Yes. So, look, to answer your question, Councillor Johansson, certainly that was part of the report, and so there'll be an attachment to our original report in relation to that. Although it was a verbal update, but clearly CTOC, that is one of their main concerns, and how that is managed, and the whole purpose is to, I guess, utilise the cones as part of that management. So, yep, I guess with the scale and the amount of work being done, particularly in a city, that is a concern, and something I understood that CTOC are continuing to address. But Tim might, or any of the other members of the committee might want to add to that, or any other staff.
It also made clear getting information back how important it is for those urban shopping centres to, when we're going into, say, Easter or Christmas or whatever, or holiday, any time of holiday, that the roadworks are planned around those, so that there's as little impact as possible into those small urban shopping centres.
The only parking's been taken up by the construction vehicles, so the dairy on the corner of Avonside and Gloucester Street, just has almost no parking, and it seems really bizarre that the construction vehicles, which could park a little bit further away and allow some parking. But also, just I had a question on that bridge. Can we get a status update on that bridge as well? I understand it's probably behind schedule, but can staff just give an update on that Darlington Bridge, Gayhurst Bridge? No, that's it, just that one. I just went and met with the business owners yesterday who are affected by it.
Mine's just around item 7, which is the Central City Parking Plan. It would be very useful, I raised this at the briefing on Monday with regard to this here, is the capacity for parking on the individual streets. So we know how many parks that Litchfield Street can take, but there are emerging plans of potential car parks in other streets, and it'd be just good to identify what the quantum of parks that can be handled by each street in those various areas. And also on top of that, when these parking facilities become available, we need to consider quite carefully the ongoing use of bare land, offering maybe cheap parking and putting it at risk these developers who actually are putting parking in, the loss of revenue for them. So we've got to consider that actually going forward.
Can I just comment? Yes, for our next Infrastructure, Transport and Environment Committee, there'll be a report on this very item coming to our committee, Paul. Thank you.
Thank you for letting me have another question. Yeah, sorry. Okay, won't let on next time. No, in the past we've had, in the previous term, and I think it was quite useful, skirt reports and a breakdown on a ward-by-ward basis by works and budget, the actual works that are being undertaken across the city. And I wondered, could we reinstate that from skirt? Phil, is that something we could look at in your... And I felt they were good reports, and so we knew the spend in each ward, what was happening where, etc.
Yeah, I think we just need to make sure we're not overlapping with the information community boards already received, but when we look at that, we'll make sure there's not a double up.
What boards are community boards?
They should be.
Not in the same detail, not compared to the last term.
Okay. Yep. Yep.
Okay. That the report as a whole be adopted. Those in favour, please say aye. Those opposed, carried. The Riccarton